I've seen a lot of people talk recently about Cruel Boys, and there's some leaked stats, which I'm not going to show you. I think it's Wohammer. I think in the next couple days, we'll see some more Wohammer stats come out that show Cruel Boys close to the bottom of the meta, like in terms of their win percentage is still quite low. I know that a lot of players that were Cruel Boy players in third that were very excited to play Cruel Boys now that they have better rules. I know that they are feeling like they're not doing, like, everyone's like, oh, the rules are so much better. Cruel Boys is such a good army. But they, as players, are struggling with list construction, with the limitations, with, like, the tactics and the strategies and the randomness of the army and everything. And I'm just here to say, give it some time. But before I say give it some time, I, of course, have to thank my sponsors. So thanks to Baron of Dice for supporting the channel, thanks to Iberian for donating art to the channel, and thanks to all my patrons. I'm on a goal to have 25 subscribers by the end of the summer. If you'd like to support the channel, that is the best way to do so. And of course, this morning I am joined by Twitch chat. Say hi, chat, and we're just looking over some stuff. But so, like I said, so let me just say a few things for those of you that are struggling with Cruel Boys right now, or that are concerned about some of the metadata that we've seen come out of say hi, chat. You're funny. Things that'll we've seen some metadata come out that doesn't look very good for Cruel Boys, and so I just wanted to make a few points here. Okay, so number one, metadata, like which armies are winning GTs, a huge part of that, or I shouldn't say a huge part, but a significant part of that data is which armies are actually being played. If a lot of people are playing Gloomspite Gits, if they have a disproportionately large percentage of the player base actually playing them, they're going to win more GTs than an army that almost nobody is playing. That was one of the reasons why at the end of third, even halfway through third, Cruel Boys had a very low win percentage. They weren't a very appealing army. They were difficult, they were in a race to the bottom for their points, they were kind of a one-trick pony in a lot of ways, and so a lot of people didn't actually want to play Cruel Boys. If no one's playing Cruel Boys, they're not going to win GTs. So at the very start of 4th edition, right, there's I know there are a lot of people out there. I know there are people listening to me right now that are just getting into Cruel Boys. They maybe have never actually played a game as Cruel Boys. They maybe have, they're still building and assembling this new cool looking Cruel Boy army that got a really big glow up in 4th edition. Those players haven't actually entered into that metadata yet. There's a player out there who's building Cruel Boys right now, probably painting as he's listening to me ramble on, who's going to enter a GT this year and who's going to come out 5-0. Cruel Boys are a good army. I think they can definitely go 5-0 at a GT. People have to actually build that army and put it on the table and play that army. So for the first like 3 to 6 months, the metadata that we see for Cruel Boys in particular is going to be heavily skewed. I don't think there are a lot of Cruel Boy players out there at the start of 4th, and so we're not going to see a lot of Cruel Boy players winning tournaments at the start of 4th, if that makes sense. A second big category of why we won't see a lot of super successful Cruel Boy armies right now at the beginning of 4th edition is because Cruel Boys still are a high skill ceiling army. They still are. It's really tough. It's hard for us to know when to use our sneaks, when should we be spamming them, and when should we be saving them and using them more strategically, right? We what like our lists and what our lists look like. Do we want to be 3, 4, or 5 drops? Do we want to, like, what heroes are good? Like, people are still having a debate about the kill boss. If he's good, I say hard no. I put him F tier, but that's just me, right? I might be wrong. Even myself, every game that I play as Cruel Boys, in my head, I'm kind of coming up with more and more little sneaky tricks and little tactics of like, well, what happens if I try to sneak? Like the last game I played, I snuck a unit of Cruel Boys behind a building, and on my follow-up turn, I was able to wrap them around the building and come in for a charge on some squishy wizards. Or it's like having priority target on Bolt Boys and how to move them around the map. Or like saving up my dirty tricks so that if I want to use a sneak to really make sure a unit gets out of the line of fire, that I can do that. When do I want to strike last? When do I want to use my sneaks? do I want to go first? Do I want to go second? Like, Cruel Boys is a very high skill ceiling army. They are a tricky army. And so, of course, even those of us that have played Cruel Boys for a long time, at the start of a new edition with a new set of rules, we're not going to be as good as we're going to be 6 months from now. So if you are out there right now and you are struggling with Cruel Boys, just remember, it's a difficult army to play. It's going to take some getting used to, and don't let the metadata get you down. If you're struggling with the army, mix it up and try something totally different. Don't forget, a few months from now, monster killer points are going up, gut ripple points are coming down. So don't be discouraged. Hang in there. Let's work on this together. Like, subscribe. Wah.